The penthouse smelled of rain and expensive cologne. Lee Jae-minute stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows, Seoul's skyline bleeding neon through the glass. His reflection was a ghost, sharp jawline, eyes like frozen obsidian, the coiled serpent tattoo on his neck barely visible above his black collar. Then he heard it. A sound that didn't belong. Soft. Broken. Like something beautiful being crushed. He turned. She was there. Adiz. Collapsed against his private elevator doors. Her cream blouse torn at the shoulder. Blood, dried, dark, damning, streaked across her collarbone. Her braids fell across her face, but he could see it. The bruise. Purple. Fresh. Spreading across her cheekbone like a dying sunset. Jae-minut's hand tightened at his side. The snake tattoo on his knuckles seemed to pulse. He crossed the room in 4 silent steps. Knelt before her. His voice came out quiet. Controlled. Lethal. Who did this to you? Adiz looked up. Her dark eyes, usually so warm, so carefully guarded, were empty. She said nothing. But her silence told him everything. And what it told him would destroy a family that had ruled Seoul's elite for 3 generations. Welcome back, beautiful souls. This story will take you through darkness before it finds light. Stay until the end, because the ending will shatter you and heal you all at once. Please like, share, and subscribe. 3 months earlier. The rain came without warning. It always did in Seoul's Itaewon district. One moment, the streets hummed with Friday night energy. The next, water poured from a bruised sky like the heavens themselves were grieving. Lee Jae-minute sat in the back of his black Maybach, watching the chaos unfold through tinted windows. People ran. Umbrellas bloomed. Street vendors cursed. But one woman didn't move. She stood outside a small flower shop across the street, arms full of white lilies, face tilted toward the sky. Rain soaked through her yellow dress, turned the fabric translucent against brown skin, plastered her long braids to her shoulders. She was smiling. Jae-minute leaned forward. Sir. His driver, Park, glanced in the rearview mirror. The meeting. Who owns that shop? Park followed his gaze. I don't know, sir. Should I find out? Jae-minute didn't answer. He was watching her laugh. Actually laugh. In the rain. In the middle of Seoul. Like she had nowhere else to be. Like joy was something she'd just remembered how to feel. Something in his chest shifted. He didn't like it. Drive, he said. The Maybach pulled away. But Jae-minut's eyes stayed on the rearview mirror until she disappeared. Later that night. The warehouse smelled like rust and fear. Jae-minute walked through it slowly, his footsteps echoing against concrete. 3 men knelt in the center, hands bound, mouths gagged. His soldiers stood in the shadows, silent, watchful, loyal. Director Kang walked beside him, tablet in hand. The Hwang family denies involvement, Kang said quietly. But our sources confirmed it. They intercepted the Busan shipment. 12 million in product. Gone. Jae-minute stopped before the kneeling men. He tilted his head. Remove the gags. A soldier obeyed. The first man immediately started begging. The second wept. The third, the one in the middle, stayed silent. Defiant. Jae-minute studied him. You work for Chairman Hwang. It wasn't a question. The defiant one spat. The Iron Phantom. You think we fear you? The Hwangs have ruled this city's elite since before you crawled out of whatever gutter made you. You're nothing. A criminal playing businessman. Jae-minute's expression didn't change. He reached into his jacket. Pulled out a single white lily. The men stared. Jae-minute twirled the flower slowly between his fingers. The serpent tattoo on his wrist caught the light. I bought this an hour ago, he said softly. From a little flower shop in Itaewon. The owner wasn't there, but her employee was helpful. Young woman. Nervous. She talked too much. He crouched before the defiant man. She told me about a regular customer. A man who comes every Wednesday. Buys roses for his wife. Tips generously. Jae-minute's voice dropped to a whisper. She described him perfectly. The scar above his eyebrow. The gold watch. The way he always smells like cigars and expensive lies. The defiant man's face went white. Your brother, Jae-minute continued. He seems like a kind man. Family man. 3 children, yes? The youngest just started elementary school. You wouldn't. I would. Jae-minute stood. But I won't. Not tonight. Tonight, you'll deliver a message to Chairman Huang. He dropped the lily onto the man's lap. Tell him the Iron Phantom sends his regards. Tell him I know about the Busan shipment. Tell him he has 72 hours to return what's mine, or I'll start with the flower shop. Then the brother. Then the children's school. He turned and walked away. And tell him, he added without looking back, that I'm a very patient man. But even patience has limits. 3 days later. The shipment was returned. Plus interest. Jae-minute stood at his penthouse window, reading the report on his tablet. Seoul sprawled beneath him, ignorant of the wars waged in its shadows. The Huang family paid in full, Director Kang confirmed. Chairman Huang personally called to apologize. His requesting a meeting. Decline. Sir. Let him wait. Jae-minute set down the tablet. Let him wonder. Let him fear. Kang nodded. And the flower shop owner? The one from Itaewon. Jae-minute's jaw tightened. He'd been thinking about her. More than he should. More than made sense. What about her? Nothing, sir. You mentioned her shop during the interrogation. I assumed you wanted surveillance. You assumed wrong. Kang bowed slightly. My apologies. But after he left, Jae-minute pulled up the security footage from that night. He watched the woman in the rain again. Watched her smile. Watched her laugh. Something about her haunted him. Her full name was Adiz Okonkwo. It meant the king's daughter in Igbo, a name her father had chosen with pride, with hope, with the naive belief that titles could protect. They couldn't. Adiz had learned that lesson in blood. Now she lived quietly. A flower shop in Itaewon. A small apartment above it. A life built from the ashes of everything she'd lost. She woke at dawn, watered her plants, arranged her displays, and tried not to think about the past. Most days, she succeeded. Some days, the memories found her anyway. That morning. Unnie, you're doing it again. Adiz blinked. Her assistant, Minute G, stood across the counter, arms crossed, eyebrow raised. 22 years old. Pink hair. Too smart for her own good. Doing what? Adiz asked. Staring at nothing. Looking sad. It's bad for business. We don't have any customers. Exactly my point. Minute G gestured at the empty shop. Nobody wants to buy flowers from a sad woman. It's scientifically proven. That's not science. It's emotional science. Look it up. Adiz couldn't help the small smile that tugged at her lips. Minute G had that effect on her. Like sunlight breaking through clouds. I'll try to look happier, Adiz said. That's all I ask. Minute G grabbed her bag. I'm going to get coffee. The real kind, not that instant poison you keep in the back. Want anything? I'm fine. Liar. I'll get you a latte. Extra shot. You look like you need it. She bounced out the door before Adiz could protest. The shop fell silent. Adiz exhaled. She turned to the arrangement she'd been working on, white orchids and deep purple calla lilies. Elegant. Mournful. The kind of arrangement you'd send to someone you'd wronged. A condolence piece. She'd made a lot of those lately. Later. The bell above the door chimed. Adiz looked up, expecting Minute G. But it wasn't her assistant. It was a man in a tailored grey suit. Silver hair despite a young face. Eyes that scanned the shop with professional detachment. May I help you? Adiz asked carefully. The man smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. I'm looking for something special. A centerpiece for an important dinner. What's the occasion? Business. Happy occasion or reconciliation. The man's smile widened. Let's call it a peace offering. Adiz nodded slowly. Something about him set her on edge. But she was a professional. I have some arrangements in the back, she said. Give me a moment. She turned toward the storage room. And stopped. Because through the front window, she saw it. A black Maybach. Parked across the street. Its tinted windows revealed nothing. But she could feel someone watching. 20 minutes later. The gray-suited man left with a centerpiece of crimson dahlias and white roses. He paid in cash, thick bills, crisp and new, and didn't ask for change. "Thank you for your business," Adiz said. He paused at the door. "You're not Korean." It wasn't a question. "Nigerian," she said evenly. "But I've lived in Seoul for 5 years." "Impressive. Your Korean is perfect." "Thank you." He studied her for a moment too long. "This is a nice shop," he said finally. "Quiet neighborhood. Safe." He smiled again, that same cold smile. "I hope it stays that way." Then he was gone. Adiz stood frozen. Her heart pounded. She looked through the window. The black Maybach was gone too. That night. The nightmare came. It always started the same way. A ballroom. Crystal chandeliers. The scent of champagne and orchids. She was younger. 23. Wearing a gold gown her mother had chosen. Smiling because she didn't know yet. Didn't know that the man taking her hand was leading her toward destruction. "Dance with me," he said. And she did. She danced while her life burned. Adiz woke gasping. The apartment was dark. Silent. The neon glow of Seoul crept through her curtains. She sat up. Pressed her hand to her chest. Breathed. It took her 10 minutes to stop shaking. 1 week later. Lee Jae-minute told himself it was surveillance. Reconnaissance. A wise leader knew his territory. Knew every shop, every alley, every person who might become useful, or dangerous. That's why he'd pulled the file on the flower shop. That's why he knew her name now. Adiz Okonkwo. Nigerian. 28 years old. Entered Korea 5 years ago on a student visa, later converted to business ownership. No criminal record. No known affiliations. No family in Korea. Clean. Too clean. But the report left gaps. 5 years ago, before she arrived in Seoul, her history became murky. A year in Hong Kong. 6 months in Singapore. Brief stays in London and Paris. Running. Someone had been running. Jae-minute stared at her photograph, a visa photo, clinical and unflattering, yet somehow she still radiated warmth. Those dark eyes. That gentle mouth. He closed the file. Opened it again. "This is dangerous," a voice whispered. "This is weakness." He knew the voice was right. But he couldn't stop. That evening. The flower shop's lights were on. Jae-minute sat in his Maybach across the street, watching through the window. She was alone tonight, no pink-haired assistant. She moved between arrangements, touching petals, adjusting stems, lost in her work. She was wearing a white blouse. Simple. Elegant. It made her brown skin glow. His phone buzzed. "Director Kang, the Hwang family dinner is confirmed for tomorrow. Chairman Hwang will attend personally." Jae-minute typed back, "Proceed as planned." He looked up. She was at the window now. Looking out. Looking at him. She couldn't see through the tinted glass, he knew that. But something in her posture shifted. Like she sensed something. Someone. Jae-minutte's hand tightened on his phone. He should leave. Should drive away. Instead, he watched her turn. Watched her flip the shop sign to closed. Watched the lights go out one by one. He stayed until her apartment window darkened. Then he stayed an hour more. 2 days later. The Hwang family dinner was a carefully orchestrated disaster. Not for Jae-minute. For them. He arrived late, intentionally. Let Chairman Hwang wait. Let him sweat. When Jae-minute finally walked into the private room at the Schiller Hotel, 3 generations of the Hwang family were already seated, their faces carefully blank. But he saw the fear. It pleased him. "Mr. Lee." Chairman Hwang rose, extending his hand. "Thank you for accepting our invitation." Jae-minute didn't take the hand. He sat at the head of the table, a seat that wasn't meant for him, and let the silence stretch. Chairman Hwang slowly lowered his hand. "I believe there's been a misunderstanding," the chairman said carefully. "There's been no misunderstanding. The Busan shipment was returned. With interest." Jae-minutte's voice was soft. Calm. Terrifying. "The matter is closed." Relief flickered across Hwang's face. "Then why are we here?" Jae-minute smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Because you need to understand something, Chairman. You exist because I allow it. Your family's position, your businesses, your legacy, all of it survives at my pleasure. Chairman Huang's face reddened. Now wait. I'm not finished. The room went silent. The next time you move against me, Jae-minute continued, I won't take your shipment. I'll take your eldest son's construction company. Then your daughter's pharmaceutical empire. Then your grandson's future. He leaned forward. And I'll do it slowly. Publicly. I'll make sure the whole world watches the Huang family crumble. And when you're begging in the streets, I'll walk past you like the stranger you should have remained. Nobody breathed. Jae-minute stood. Enjoy your dinner. He walked out. Later that night, the rage found him in his penthouse. It always did, after performances like that. After wearing the mask of the Iron Phantom for hours, smiling while calculating destruction, speaking softly while screaming inside. Jae-minute poured himself a whiskey. Drank it in one swallow. Poured another. His reflection stared at him from the window. Cold eyes, colder heart, the serpent tattoo curling up his neck like a promise of violence. He hated that reflection. He was that reflection. The next morning, he went to the flower shop. He didn't know why. It was raining again, a soft drizzle that toned soul grey and melancholy. The shop's lights glowed warm through the mist. Jae-minute stood across the street. Watching. Waiting. Then the door opened. And she was there. Adiz. Carrying a bucket of roses to the outdoor display. She was wearing a green sweater today, her braids pulled back, her face soft and focused. She looked up. Their eyes met. Jae-minutte's heart stopped. She frowned, not scared, not threatened. Confused. Like she was trying to place him. Then she smiled. Small. Uncertain. Beautiful. Can I help you? She called out. Jae-minute realized he'd been standing frozen like an idiot. No, he said. His voice came out rougher than intended. Her smile faded slightly. Are you sure? You've been standing there a while. She noticed. I'm waiting for someone, he lied. In the rain. I don't mind rain. She studied him for a moment. Then she laughed. A real laugh. It hit him like a bullet. That's very dramatic, she said. Waiting in the rain. Are you in a movie? Something like that. She tilted her head. Well, if your friend doesn't show up, we have flowers. They are better than standing in the rain. Then she went back inside. Jae-minute stood there. Heart pounding. Mind racing. This is dangerous. This is weakness. This will destroy you. He walked across the street and into the shop. The shop smelled like jasmine and rain. Adiz looked up from behind the counter as the door chimed. The man from outside, the one who'd been standing in the rain like a brooding protagonist, stepped inside. He was tall. Sharply dressed. His black coat was dotted with rain, and she noticed the way his dark eyes scanned the shop, quick, calculating, missing nothing. Military. Or something worse. She'd learned to recognize that look. Welcome, she said carefully. Looking for anything specific. He didn't answer immediately. Just walked slowly through the shop, studying the arrangements. His fingers brushed a white orchid, traced the edge of a ceramic vase. The tattoo on his wrist caught her attention. A serpent. Coiled. Ready to strike. She'd seen tattoos like that before. In her past life. They never meant anything good. These are beautiful, he said finally. His voice was low. Controlled. You have talent. Thank you. She kept her voice neutral. Do you need flowers for an occasion? No. A gift for someone? No. Then, why are you here? He turned to face her. Their eyes met fully for the first time. Adiz felt something shift. It was like looking into a frozen lake. Beautiful, dangerous, hiding depths that could swallow you whole. His face was carved from stone, all sharp angles and cold perfection, but his eyes were hungry. I'm not sure, he admitted. The honesty startled her. That's an unusual answer. I'm an unusual man. She almost smiled. Almost. Well, unusual man, if you decide you want flowers, I'm here until 7. He nodded slowly. Then he left. The door chimed behind him. Adiz exhaled. Her hands were shaking. That evening. Minute G returned from her break to find Adiz staring at nothing again. Okay, spill. Minute G dropped her bag on the counter. What happened? Nothing. Liar. Your face does this thing when you're lying. I don't have a thing. You absolutely have a thing. Minute G leaned closer. Was it a man? Was he handsome? Was he weird? Both? Oh my god, was he a weird handsome man? Adiz sighed. There was a customer. He was unusual. Unusual how? He didn't buy anything. That's not unusual. That's annoying. He stood in the rain for 20 minutes before coming in. Minute G's eyes widened. That's either romantic or serial killer behavior. No in between. Adiz didn't answer, because she wasn't sure which one applied. The next day, he came back. Same time. Same silence. He walked through the shop, studying arrangements. Asked no questions. Bought nothing. Then he left. The day after, he came again. This time, he spoke. The orchids, he said. How do you keep them alive? Adiz looked up from her work. Careful attention. The right temperature. The right amount of light. She paused. They are delicate. Most people think they're easy because they are beautiful. But beauty requires effort. He considered this. And if someone neglects them, they die slowly. But they die. Something flickered in his eyes. What if someone wants to save them? After the damage is done? Adiz set down her pruning shears. Then they have to be patient, she said quietly. Gentle. Consistent. Orchids remember neglect. They don't trust easily. But with time, with care, they can bloom again. He stared at her. She stared back. The silence stretched between them, heavy, electric, full of things neither understood. Thank you, he said finally. Then he left. That night, Adiz dreamed of serpents. They coiled around her wrists, her throat, her heart. But they didn't bite. They protected. 2 weeks later. Lee Jae-minute was losing his mind. He knew the signs. The distraction. The obsession. The way his thoughts kept circling back to a flower shop in Itaewon, to brown skin and warm eyes, to a voice that softened the edges of his rage. This is weakness. He went anyway. Every day. Sometimes he bought flowers. Small arrangements. Single stems. Things he threw away the moment he returned to his penthouse. Sometimes he just watched her work. She never asked his name. Never pushed. Accepted his presence like she accepted the rain, a force beyond control. It infuriated him. It consumed him. One afternoon. You're different today, she said. Jae-minute looked up from the white roses he'd been pretending to examine. What do you mean? Tense. More than usual. She was arranging tulips, her hands moving with practiced grace. Bad day at work. He almost laughed. Work. If she only knew. Something like that, he said. Want to talk about it? No. Want to keep staring at roses you're not going to buy? Yes. She smiled. It was a real smile. He wanted to photograph it. Frame it. Burn it into his memory so he could carry it through every dark thing he had to do. You're strange, she said. You've mentioned that. It bears repeating. She set down her shears and faced him fully. 3 weeks. Every day. You come, you look, sometimes you buy. But you never tell me your name. You never tell me anything. Would you like me to? I'd like to know who I'm talking to. Jae-minute considered. The truth would scare her. The truth would send her running. But lies felt wrong in this space. In her presence. My name is Jae-minute, he said. Lee Jae-minute. She nodded slowly. Adiz. But I think you already knew that. He didn't deny it. What do you do, Lee Jae-minute? What kind of work makes you carry so much tension? He looked at the serpent tattoo on his wrist. I solve problems, he said carefully. For people who can afford my solutions. That sounds ominous. It is. She should have been afraid. Instead, she laughed. I appreciate the honesty, she said. Most men who come in here lie about everything. Their jobs. Their relationships. Why they're really buying flowers. What do they lie about? Apology bouquets. They say it's for anniversaries or birthdays. But the guilt is always obvious. You can tell. Always. Her eyes met his. But you don't have guilt. You have something else. What? I don't know yet. She went back to her tulips. Jae-minute watched her. I don't have guilt because I stopped feeling it years ago. I stopped feeling anything. Until you. Later that week. The Hwang family struck back. Not directly, they weren't that stupid. But their allies began causing problems. Shipping delays. Construction permits denied. A journalist digging into Jae-minute legitimate businesses. Small cuts. Annoying but manageable. Director Kang brought the reports each morning, his face growing more concerned with each new development. They're testing you, Kang said. Seeing how far they can push. Jae-minute stood at his window, watching the city. Let them push. Sir. They want a reaction. They want me to strike first. To give them justification. He turned. But I don't react. I calculate. I wait. And when the time is right. He didn't finish. He didn't need to. That evening. He went to the flower shop. But something was wrong. The lights were off. The closed sign hung in the window. Jae-minute's chest tightened. He tried the door. Locked. He looked up at the apartment windows. Dark. His phone was in his hand before he realized he was calling. Director Kang. I need surveillance footage. Itaewon District. The flower shop. Now. Sir? What's? Now. 30 minutes later. The footage showed nothing unusual. Adiz had closed the shop at 7, as normal. She'd gone upstairs. Lights off by 10. But she hadn't reopened. For 3 days. Jae-minute watched the footage over and over. Looking for threats. Looking for danger. Finding nothing. But the silence terrified him. The 4th day. She returned. Jae-minute saw her from across the street, carrying grocery bags, moving slowly, her face tired but intact. He crossed immediately. Where were you? She looked up, startled. Excuse me. The shop was closed. 3 days. Where were you? She frowned. I was sick. The flu. It happens. He studied her face. She was lying. He could tell. The flu, he repeated flatly. Yes. Is that a crime? It is when you disappear without warning. Her expression shifted. Something flickered in her eyes, not fear, but recognition. Like she was seeing him clearly for the first time. Why do you care? The question hung between them. Jae-minute didn't have an answer. At least, not one he could say aloud. I don't, he said finally. I just noticed. You noticed my shop was closed for 3 days. Yes. And it bothered you. Yes. She stared at him. Then she laughed. But it wasn't the warm laugh from before. This one was bitter. Edged. You're not what you seem, she said. Neither are you. Her smile faded. No, she admitted quietly. I'm not. She unlocked the shop door. Come in, she said. I'll make tea. And maybe it's time we stopped lying to each other. Inside. The shop felt different with the lights off. Intimate. Dangerous. Adiz put water on to boil while Jae-minute stood near the window, watching the street. Watching for threats. This is stupid. You're compromised. Walk away. But he couldn't. She returned with 2 cups of tea. Placed his on the counter between them. You first, she said. He raised an eyebrow. You want honesty? Then you start. Tell me what you really are. Because I've seen men like you before. I know the signs. The tattoo. The way you move. The way people look at you. She was trembling. But she didn't look away. I used to be surrounded by men like you, she continued. Back in Lagos. Back before everything. I know what dangerous looks like. Jae-minute's jaw tightened. What happened in Lagos? Her hands wrapped around her teacup. My father was a businessman. Or that's what he called himself. But business in Lagos, at his level, it meant deals with people who didn't take no for an answer. People who collected debts in blood. She took a breath. He made enemies. Powerful ones. When I was 23, those enemies came to collect. Your family. Gone. Her voice was flat. Empty. My father. My mother. My brothers. I was the only one who escaped. The only one left alive. Jae-minute set down his tea. How? Someone warned me. An hour before the attack. I never learned who. She looked up at him. I ran. Changed my name. Moved from city to city. Eventually ended up here. And the enemies? Are they still hunting you? I don't know. Maybe. Probably. She shrugged, a gesture too casual for the weight it carried. I've been running so long, I forgot how to stop. Jae-minute processed this. Her father. Her family. Lagos. These were puzzle pieces. He would find out more. He would find out everything. Your turn, she said. Who are you really? He looked at her. Really looked. At the woman who'd survived things that would break most people. At the strength beneath the softness. At the fire she kept carefully banked. I'm the Iron Phantom, he said. She didn't react. Not how he expected. I know, she said quietly. I've heard the name. The whispers. You control the underworld in Seoul. She set down her cup. You could destroy my shop with a single phone call. Have me deported. Disappeared. Yes. So why are you here? What do you want from me? He didn't know how to answer. Because the truth was too vast. Too terrifying. I want to protect you. I want to keep you safe. I want to burn the world down for the privilege of standing in your presence. I don't know, he said instead. She smiled sadly. At least that's honest. 2 weeks later. Director Kang's investigation into Adi's past uncovered more than expected. Much more. Her father wasn't just any businessman, Kang reported, laying documents across Jae-minut's desk. Chief Emmanuel Okonkwo. He ran the largest shipping consortium in West Africa. Legitimate on paper, but he moved product for cartels, politicians, anyone who paid. Jae-minute studied the files. And his enemies. A consortium of competitors who wanted him eliminated. But here's where it gets interesting. Kang pulled out another folder. 3 Korean businessmen were part of that consortium. They helped fund the attack. Provided logistics. Made sure no one important asked questions. Jae-minut's blood went cold. Names. Park Sung-ho. Deceased, heart attack, 2020. Kim Do-hyun. Retired, living in Jeju. Kang paused. And Chairman Hwang. The world went silent. Hwang. He was a minority investor in Chief Okonkwo's consortium. When Okonkwo refused to give him controlling interest in the East African shipping routes, Hwang helped orchestrate the coup. Funded the attackers. Covered up the murders. Jae-minut's hands tightened into fists. The serpent tattoo on his neck seemed to pulse. Hwang murdered her family. Indirectly, yes. And she doesn't know. According to all evidence, no. She knows she was targeted. She doesn't know by whom. Jae-minute stood. Walked to the window. Seoul sprawled beneath him, oblivious to the storm brewing inside his chest. Chairman Hwang. The same family that had stolen his shipment. The same family that had been testing him for weeks. They had murdered Adi's family. They had taken everything from her. And she didn't even know. Sir. Kang's voice was careful. What are your orders? Jae-minute turned. His face was stone. His eyes were fire. Gather everything. Every connection, every transaction, every secret the Hwang family has ever tried to bury. I want their financial records, their medical histories, their children's report cards. I want to know what Chairman Hwang eats for breakfast and what he dreams about when he closes his eyes. And then I'm going to destroy them. That night. He went to her. Not the shop. Her apartment. He shouldn't have. It was too direct. Too obvious. But he needed to see her. Needed to confirm she was real. Safe. Alive. He stood across the street, in the shadows, watching her window. The light was on. He could see her silhouette. Moving. Living. Breathing. I will protect you. I will avenge you. Even if you never know. The next day. You're different today, Adiz said. Jae-minute looked up. He was sitting in the shop's small seating area, a recent addition she'd made after his visits became regular. Different how? Focused. Like you're planning something. I'm always planning something. No. This is different. This is. She searched for the word. Personal. He didn't deny it. Be careful, she said quietly. Whatever you're planning. Be careful. Why? Because I've seen men like you burn themselves to ash for personal vengeance. My father was one of them. She touched his hand. Just briefly. Just enough. I'd hate to see that happen to you. Jae-minute stared at her. At this woman who'd survived genocide and kept her heart soft. Who'd lost everything and still found room to care about a monster like him. I'll be careful, he said. It was almost true. 1 month later. The investigation into Adiz's past revealed a final, devastating secret. Her father had a hidden account, Director Kang reported. Offshore. Untouchable. He created it as insurance, money for his children if anything happened to him. How much? $40 million. Jae-minute went still. She's the only surviving heir, Kang continued. But she doesn't know the account exists. And neither does anyone else. Anyone else? The consortium that killed her father, they've been searching for it. For years. That's why they targeted her family. They knew about the account, but not the access codes. They thought if they eliminated everyone, they could eventually trace it. But they couldn't. No. Chief Okonkwo was smart. The account requires biometric confirmation from a direct heir. Fingerprint. Retinal scan. DNA match. Jae-minute understood. They need her alive. Yes. But they don't know where she is. They didn't. But. Kang hesitated. Say it. The Hwang family has started making inquiries. Quiet ones. About African women in Seoul. Business owners. Shopkeepers. Jae-minute blood ran cold. They're looking for her. They're getting close. That evening. Jae-minute found Adiz closing up the shop. We need to talk, he said. Something in his voice made her stop. What's wrong? Not here. Come with me. Come where? Somewhere safe. She stared at him. Jae-minute, you're scaring me. Good. He took her hand. You should be scared. The penthouse. Adiz stood at the window, looking at Seoul. Everything was glass and steel and luxury. Everything screamed money and power. She felt very small. Why am I here? She asked. Jae-minute was at the bar, pouring whiskey. He set down the bottle without drinking. Because I learned something. About your father. About his death. She went still. What do you know? His murder wasn't random. It was orchestrated by a consortium of businessmen who wanted his shipping routes. 3 of them were Korean. One of them. He paused. One of them is Chairman Hwang. Adiz didn't move. Didn't breathe. Hwang, she repeated. He helped fund the attack. Provided logistics. Covered up the evidence. Jae-minute crossed to her. He's been searching for you ever since. He knows you're the only one who can access your father's hidden account. $40 million. Adiz laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. 40 million, she whispered. My family died for $40 million. I'm sorry. Don't be. Her voice hardened. Don't you dare be sorry. She turned to face him. Her eyes were blazing. I've spent 5 years running. Hiding. Building a life from nothing. I thought maybe, I'd escaped. Maybe they'd forgotten. Maybe I could finally stop looking over my shoulder. She stepped closer. And now you're telling me the man who murdered my family is here? In Seoul? And he's looking for me? Yes. Why are you telling me this? What do you want? Jae-minute looked at her. At the fire. At the strength. At the woman who had survived everything the world had thrown at her and refused to break. I want to help you, he said. Help me how? I want to destroy him. She stared. And in return? What do you want in return? He didn't answer. Because the answer was you. And he couldn't say that. Not yet. Not like this. The next morning, Adiz woke in the penthouse guest room. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then it all came back. Hwang. Her father. $40 million. A monster offering to destroy another monster on her behalf. She got up. Found clothes laid out for her, expensive, tasteful, her size. She didn't want to know how he knew her measurements. Jae-minute was in the kitchen. Cooking. It was so absurd that Adiz stopped in the doorway, staring. Sit, he said without turning. Breakfast is almost ready. You cook. I do many unexpected things. She sat at the massive marble island, watching him move. He'd shed his jacket and tie, rolled up his sleeves. The serpent tattoo on his forearm flexed as he worked. I thought crime lords had people for this, she said. I do. I prefer cooking for myself. He set a plate before her. It grounds me. It was a Korean breakfast. Rice, soup, banchan. Perfectly arranged. Eat, he said. Then we'll talk. After breakfast, they sat in his study. The walls were lined with books, Korean literature, philosophy, military strategy. A chessboard sat on a side table, mid-game. Here's what I propose, Jae-minute said. You stay here. Under my protection. While I systematically dismantle the Hwang family. For how long? As long as it takes. And I'm supposed to just sit here? Hide? Yes. No. He raised an eyebrow. I've been hiding for 5 years, she said. I'm done hiding. If you're going to destroy them, I want to help. That's not possible. Why not? Because it's dangerous. My entire life is dangerous. She stood. You don't get to decide what risks I take. You're not my protector. You're not my keeper. What am I, then? The question hung between them. Adiz didn't have an answer. You're someone who showed up in my flower shop and refused to leave, she said finally. You're someone who watches me like I'm the only thing in the room. You're someone who just told me you want to destroy a powerful family, for me. She stepped closer. What are you, Jae-minute? What do you want? He stood slowly. They were inches apart. I want things I have no right to want, he said quietly. I want to keep you safe. I want to make them pay for what they did. I want. His hand rose. Touched her cheek. The contact was electric. I want you to stay, he finished. Not because I'm forcing you. Because you choose to. Adiz's breath caught. His eyes burned into hers. And if I choose to leave? Then I'll let you go. And I'll destroy them anyway. Because what they did to your family is unforgivable. She searched his face. Looking for the lie. Finding only truth. One condition, she said. Name it. I help plan. I see everything. I'm not some princess in a tower while you wage war. I'm part of this. He hesitated. It will put you at risk. I'm already at risk. I'd rather be at risk with knowledge than at risk in ignorance. He considered. Then nodded. Agreed. Later that night, Adiz stood at the penthouse window. Seoul sparkled below her. She thought about her father. Her mother. Her brothers. She thought about justice. She thought about the man in the other room, dangerous, powerful, obsessed. She thought about the way he looked at her. Like she was oxygen. Like she was everything. What am I doing? What are we becoming? 2 weeks later. They worked together every evening. Jae-minute would spread documents across the study table, financial records, surveillance reports, intercepted communications. Adiz would study them with terrifying focus. She was smart. Smarter than he expected. She found connections his team had missed. Patterns in the money flows. Weak points in the Hwang family's armor. Here, she said one night, pointing at a spreadsheet. This shell company in Singapore. It's laundering funds from their pharmaceutical division. If we expose this to the regulators, they'll lose their import licenses, Jae-minute finished. Which will cost them millions every month. He looked at her. Something warm spread through his chest. You're good at this. I learned from my father. Her voice was bitter. before he got us all killed. That wasn't your fault. I know. But it doesn't matter. Logic doesn't touch grief. He understood. Better than she knew. Meanwhile, the Huang family's search for Adiz intensified. Director Kang's surveillance teams reported increased activity. Private investigators. Immigration records pulled. Questions asked in Itaewon, Hongdae, Gangnam. They're getting closer, Kang warned. Let them look, Jae-minute said. They won't find her here. Sir, if they discover you're hiding her. They won't. But. Director. Jae-minute's voice went cold. I am aware of the risks. I am also aware of what I'm willing to sacrifice. Are we clear? Kang swallowed. Yes, sir. That night, Adiz couldn't sleep. She wandered to the penthouse study, expecting to find it empty. Jae-minute was there. Sitting in the dark. Staring at nothing. Can't sleep either, she asked. He looked up. Sleep and I have never been friends. She sat in the chair across from him. What do you think about? At night. The past. The future. What I've done. What I'm about to do. That sounds exhausting. It is. She studied him in the dim light. The sharp planes of his face. The tattoo curling up his neck. The way his hands rested on the chair arms. Controlled, dangerous, beautiful. Do you regret it? She asked. The things you've done. Some of them. Which ones? The ones where I had a choice. Where I chose cruelty over mercy because it was easier. And the other ones? Survival. His eyes met hers. In my world, mercy is a luxury. One I couldn't afford. And now. Now. He tilted his head. Now I find myself wanting to be merciful. For the first time in years. To the Huangs. No. Never to them. His voice hardened. They deserve everything that's coming. Then to whom? He didn't answer. But his eyes said everything. To you. I want to be gentle for you. 1 month later. The first phase of Jae-minute's plan succeeded. The Singapore shell company was exposed. The Huang family's pharmaceutical division lost its import licenses. Stock prices crashed. Investors fled. Chairman Huang requested an emergency meeting. Jae-minute declined. Let him squirm, he told Director Kang. Let him wonder who's behind this. He'll suspect you eventually. Let him suspect. Suspicion isn't proof. And by the time he has proof, it will be too late. The same week. Adiz insisted on visiting her flower shop. I need to check on Minute G, she argued. She's been running the place alone for a month. She deserves an explanation. It's too dangerous. Everything is dangerous. I'm going anyway. Jae-minute's jaw tightened. Then I'm coming with you. The flower shop. Minute G was thrilled to see her. Annie. She flew across the shop and hugged Adiz fiercely. I thought you were dead. Or deported. Or joined a cult. I'm fine, Adiz said, laughing. I just needed some time away. Time away. Minute G's eyes narrowed. And who's this? She was looking at Jae-minute, who was standing by the door, looking extremely out of place among the flowers. A friend, Adiz said. A friend. Minute G's voice dripped skepticism. In a suit that costs more than our monthly rent. Sure. Jae-minute said nothing. But the corner of his mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Later. They were leaving when it happened. A black SUV pulled up across the street. Jae-minute's hand closed around Adiz's wrist. Inside. Now. What? Now. He pulled her back into the shop. Pushed her behind the counter. Stay down. Don't move. Jae-minute, what's happening? He didn't answer. He was already at the window. Watching. The SUV's door opened. A man stepped out. Grey suit. Silver hair. The same man who'd bought flowers 2 months ago. Who'd smiled at Adiz with eyes like ice. Huang's son, Jae-minute murmured. Huang Sung-minute. Adiz's blood went cold. What is he doing here? Looking for you. How does he? He doesn't. Not yet. Jae-minute's voice was lethal. But he's getting close. Sung-minute crossed the street. Walked toward the flower shop. Jae-minute turned to Adiz. There's a back exit. Through the storage room. Go. But. I'll handle this. Go. She hesitated. Jae-minute. Trust me. She looked at him. At this man who had invaded her life. Who had offered her vengeance. Who was now standing between her and danger. She ran. The confrontation. Sung-minute entered the shop. Found Jae-minute waiting. Mr. Lee. Sung-minute smiled that cold smile. What a coincidence. There are no coincidences. No. I suppose not. Sung-minute looked around the shop. I'm looking for someone. A woman. Nigerian. You wouldn't happen to know her, would you? Why would I? Because I know you've been frequenting this shop. Buying flowers. Day after day. Sung-minute's smile widened. It seemed unusual. For the Iron Phantom to have hobbies. Jae-minute said nothing. My father is very interested in this woman, Sung-minute continued. She has something that belongs to him. Something valuable. If you know where she is. I don't. Are you certain? Very. Sung-minute studied him. You're lying. Prove it. The tension crackled between them. Then Sung-minute laughed. This isn't over, Mr. Lee. My father always gets what he wants. Always. He turned and walked out. Jae-minute waited until the SUV disappeared. Then he made a call. Director Kang. We're accelerating the timeline. I want the Hwang family destroyed within the month. The penthouse. Adiz was pacing when Jae-minute returned. What happened? Are you okay? Did he? I'm fine. He suspects, but he doesn't know. He'll find out. Yes. Eventually. She stopped pacing. So what do we do? Jae-minute crossed to her. Took her hands. We do what I do best, he said. We attack. The next 2 weeks. The Hwang family's empire began to crumble. Their construction permits were revoked. Tax investigations launched. Business partners suddenly broke contracts. Board members resigned. Chairman Hwang watched his life's work dissolve. And he had no idea who was responsible. One night. Adiz found Jae-minute in the study. He was holding a gun. What are you doing? She asked. Checking inventory. That's not inventory. That's a weapon. In my line of work, they're the same thing. She sat across from him. Are you going to kill them? He set down the gun. No. Death is too quick. Too merciful. His eyes were cold. I want them to suffer. I want them to lose everything, piece by piece, until they understand what they did to your family. And then, when they have nothing left, no money, no power, no dignity, I want them to live with that emptiness. Adiz shivered. That's. She searched for the word. Cruel. Thorough. He almost smiled. Yes. I'm very thorough. Later that night. They were working together in the study. Adiz looked up. Caught him watching her. What? She asked. Nothing. You're staring. I'm studying. Studying what? You. Her heart skipped. Why? He set down his pen. Because I can't figure you out. You should be terrified. You should be running. Instead, you're here, helping me plot the destruction of a family, like it's the most natural thing in the world. Maybe it is. For me. That's what confuses me. You're soft. Kind. You grow flowers and make people smile. How does that coexist with this? Adiz considered. Softness isn't weakness, she said quietly. My mother taught me that. You can be gentle and still have steel inside. You can grow flowers and still understand darkness. She met his eyes. Kindness and strength aren't opposites. They are partners. Jae-minute stared at her. Something shifted in his face. Something cracked. I've never met anyone like you, he said. Is that a compliment? It's a fact. An inconvenient, terrifying fact. She laughed softly. You're scared of me? Terrified. The Iron Phantom. Scared of a flower shop owner. The most dangerous things come in beautiful packages. Their eyes held. The air between them changed. Charged. Electric. Jae-minute stood. Walked around the desk. Stopped in front of her. "Tell me to stop," he said. "Stop what?" "This." His hand touched her face. "Tell me to stop, and I will. I'll walk away. I'll keep protecting you from a distance. I'll never touch you again." Her breath caught. "And if I don't want you to stop?" His eyes darkened. "Then I need you to understand something. I am not a good man. I have done terrible things. I will do more terrible things. If you let me in, I will consume you. I will protect you with everything I have. I will worship you. I will destroy anyone who tries to hurt you. But I will never be normal. I will never be safe." She reached up. Touched the serpent tattoo on his neck. "I've never wanted normal," she whispered. "And I've never been safe." He closed his eyes. When he opened them, they were burning. "Last chance," he said. "I don't want chances. I want you." He kissed her. The kiss was fire and darkness and 5 years of loneliness melting into warmth. It was gentle at first, reverent, almost, like she was something sacred. Then it deepened. Became consuming. His hands tangled in her braids, tilted her head back, took everything she offered. She gripped his shoulders, pulled him closer, forgot how to breathe. The world disappeared. There was only this. Only him. Only them. Later. They stood at the window. Seoul sparkled below. Adi's head rested against his chest. His arm was around her waist. Neither spoke. Some moments were too sacred for words. 2 days later. The Hwang family retaliated. An explosion at one of Jae-minut's warehouses. 3 of his men killed. A message carved into the wreckage. "We know she's with you." Jae-minute stared at the photographs. His hands were steady. His voice was not. "Casualties. 3 dead. 5 injured." Director Kang's face was grim. "They're making their move. Then we make ours. Tonight." That evening. Adiz found him in the study. He was loading weapons. Multiple weapons. "What's happening?" she demanded. "The Hwangs attacked. People died. I'm ending this." "Ending it how?" He didn't answer. Jae-minute. "How?" He looked up. His eyes were not his own. They were the eyes of the Iron Phantom. Cold. Merciless. Empty. By removing the threat. Permanently. "You said you wouldn't kill them. That was before they killed my people." His voice was ice. "Before they threatened you." "They didn't threaten. They know you're with me. That is a threat. They will come for you. They will torture you for the account information. They will kill you when they have it." His hands slammed onto the desk. "I will not allow that to happen. Not now. Not ever. Even if I have to paint this city red to prevent it." Adiz stepped back. Not from fear. From recognition. She'd seen this look before. On her father's face. The night before he died. "This is how it ends," she said quietly. "Isn't it? Violence begets violence. Someone attacks. Someone retaliates. The cycle never stops. The cycle stops when your enemies are dead. And new enemies rise. They always do. Then I'll kill them too. And the ones after. All of them." She grabbed his face. Forced him to look at her. "Listen to me. I spent 5 years running from this. From men who thought violence was the only answer. From wars that never ended because no one had the courage to stop." Her voice cracked. "I won't watch you become that. I can't." His jaw tightened. "What would you have me do? Let them win?" "No. Beat them another way." Her eyes burned. "You're the most powerful man in Seoul's underworld. Use that power. Destroy their business. Expose their crimes. Take everything they have without spilling a single drop of blood. That's not how my world works. Then change how it works. Be different. Be better." He stared at her. Seconds stretched into eternities. Then, slowly, the ice in his eyes began to melt. "You ask the impossible," he said. "I ask for you to try." He closed his eyes. When he opened them, He was J-Minute again. Wounded. Conflicted. Human. Okay, he whispered. Okay. I'll try. For you. His forehead touched hers. Only for you. 1 week later. The evidence was ready. Financial records proving Chairman Huang's connections to drug cartels. Documents linking him to the Lagos massacre. Testimony from former associates willing to talk. Everything needed to destroy the Huang family in the court of public opinion. Ready? Director Kang asked. J-Minute looked at Adiz. She nodded. Release everything. The fallout was immediate. News stations ran the story for 72 hours straight. Government officials scrambled to distance themselves. Business partners fled. Bank accounts were frozen. Chairman Huang watched his legacy crumble. And then the police came. The arrest. Adiz watched on the news. Chairman Huang, in handcuffs, being led from his mansion. His wife sobbing. His children staring in disbelief. It's over, she whispered. J-Minute stood beside her. Almost. Almost. There's one thing left. 2 days later. Chairman Huang was released on bail. He returned to his mansion, a shadow of its former glory, now filled with lawyers and fear. He found Lee J-Minute waiting in his study. What do you want? Huang spat. Come to gloat. J-Minute said nothing. He simply stepped aside. Revealing Adiz. Huang's face went white. You. I know you. You killed my family, Adiz said. Her voice was steady. Cold. My father. My mother. My brothers. For money. I don't know what you're. Don't. Her voice cracked like a whip. Don't lie. Not now. I have proof. The world has proof. You will spend whatever time you have left rotting in prison. But before that happens, I need you to know something. She stepped closer. I survived. Despite everything you did, I survived. I built a life. Found people who care about me. And now I'm watching you lose everything, the way you made me lose everything. Tears streamed down her face. But her voice was iron. You thought you could erase my family. Our memory. Our legacy. But you failed. I'm still here. And I will always be here. She turned. Walked out. J-Minute lingered. If you contact her again, he said softly, in any way, a letter, a phone call, a thought, I will ensure your remaining family joins you in prison. And I won't be gentle about it. He followed Adiz out. Outside. She was crying. Really crying. 5 years of grief, of fear, of running, finally released. J-Minute pulled her into his arms. Held her while she sobbed. Said nothing. Because sometimes silence is the only comfort. Later that night. They sat in his car. Outside her flower shop. It's really over, she said. Yes. I don't know what to do now. Anything you want. She looked at him. What if what I want is to stay? With you. His heart stopped. Started again. Then you stay. But your world will adapt. I'll make it adapt. He took her hands. I told you once that I would consume you. Protect you. Worship you. I meant it. But I also understand if you want something simpler. Something safer. She shook her head. I've never wanted simple. I've never wanted safe. She touched his face. I want you. All of you. The darkness and the light. He kissed her forehead. Her cheek. Her lips. Soft. Reverent. Devoted. Then you have me, he said. Forever. 3 months later. Life was almost peaceful. Adiz reopened her flower shop. J-Minute visited every day. Minute G teased them relentlessly. The Huang family's trial proceeded slowly. Convictions were expected. Everything was finally, impossibly, good. And then, one night, Adiz closed the shop late. She was humming. Happy. Whole. She stepped outside. Into darkness. The street lights were off. All of them. Her heart stuttered. Hello, she called. No answer. She pulled out her phone. Dialed J-Minute. No signal. Something was wrong. Very wrong. She started walking. Fast. Faster. Then, a hand clamped over her mouth. The world went black. 3 hours later, Lee Jae-minute stood in his penthouse. The floor was covered in photographs. Polaroids. Of Adiz. Bound. Bruised. Eyes wide with terror. A message was scrawled across the bottom. You took everything from us. Now we take everything from you. Hwang Sung-min. Jae-minut's phone rang. He answered. Mr. Lee. Sung-minut's voice was cold. Triumphant. I believe you have something that belongs to me. I have something that belongs to you. Let's discuss an exchange. Jae-minut's hand tightened on the phone. The serpent tattoo on his neck pulsed. His voice, when he spoke, was death itself. If you hurt her. You what? Kill me? Destroy my family? You already tried that. It didn't work. A laugh. You have 24 hours. Meet my demands, or she dies. And I promise you, Mr. Lee, I'll make it slow. I'll make her suffer. And I'll make sure you hear every scream. The line went dead. Jae-minute stood in the darkness. Photographs scattered at his feet. The woman he loved, broken and bleeding. And somewhere inside him, something shattered. What happens next will change everything. Adiz's life hangs in the balance. Jae-minute must become the monster he tried to escape. And the truth about their connection runs deeper than either could imagine. The penthouse had never felt so cold. Lee Jae-minute stood motionless, the photographs scattered at his feet like fallen leaves. Each image was a knife, Adiz's face, bruised and terrified, her braids tangled, her cream blouse torn at the shoulder. The same blouse she'd worn the day they met. His hand trembled. Lee Jae-minute did not tremble. Sir. Director Kang's voice came from behind him. Careful. Measured. We've traced the call. It bounced through multiple servers, but we're narrowing the location. How long? 6 hours. Maybe more. She has 24. I know, sir. Jae-minute turned. His face was stone. His eyes were hellfire. Mobilize everyone. Every soldier. Every contact. Every favor owed to us across this city. His voice dropped to a whisper. I want Hwang Sung-minute found. And I want him found now. Meanwhile, Adiz woke to darkness. Her head throbbed. Her wrists burned, bound behind her back with rough rope. The air smelled like rust and mildew. A warehouse. Or a basement. She'd been in places like this before. 5 years ago. The night her family died. No. Focus. Breathe. She forced herself to assess. She was sitting on a concrete floor. Her ankles were tied. A blindfold covered her eyes, but she could hear sounds, distant traffic, the drip of water, footsteps echoing somewhere above. Not alone. Someone was watching. She's awake. A man's voice. Young. Cruel. The blindfold was ripped away. Adiz blinked against harsh fluorescent light. Hwang Sung-minute stood before her. He was smiling. Miss or Kong-kwo. He crouched to her level. Or should I call you Adiz? Such a beautiful name. The king's daughter. How fitting. She said nothing. Not going to beg. He tilted his head. Your father begged, you know. At the end. When he realized no one was coming to save him. Her jaw tightened. You don't know anything about my father. I know he died screaming. Sung-minut's smile widened. I was there. The world tilted. You're lying. Am I? He stood, pacing slowly. I was 22. My father brought me along as an education. He wanted me to understand how the family handled problems. Your father was a problem. Adiz's breath came faster. You were there. I pulled the trigger myself. On your youngest brother. What was his name? Chukwemeka. He pronounced it wrong, deliberately. He cried for his mother. It was pathetic. Something inside Adiz cracked. Then hardened. You're a monster. I'm a businessman. Like my father. Like yours. He crouched again, gripping her chin. And now you're going to help me finish what we started. The account. The 40 million. You're going to give me access. I don't know anything about an account. Lies. His grip tightened. We know your father set it up. We know you're the only one who can access it. Biometrics. DNA. All keyed to his precious daughter. I don't. He slapped her. Hard. Her head snapped to the side. Blood bloomed on her lip. Let's try again, Sungminit said pleasantly. The account. Tell me everything you know. Adiz looked up at him. Blood dripping down her chin. Fire burning in her eyes. Go to hell. He smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. 12 hours remaining. Jae-minute hadn't slept. Hadn't eaten. Hadn't stopped moving. His soldiers fanned across Seoul, questioning contacts, threatening informants, tearing the city apart. Every criminal organization owed him favors. Every corrupt official feared him. He called in every debt. The Hwang family owns a warehouse in Incheon, Director Kang reported. Officially abandoned. But our sources say there's been activity, vehicles, guards, supplies. How many guards? Unclear. At least a dozen. I want satellite imagery. Floor plans. Every possible entry point. Sir, if we go in guns blazing, they might kill her before we reach her. Jae-minut's jaw tightened. He knew. God, he knew. Then we don't go in guns blazing, he said. We go in like ghosts. Silent. Surgical. They won't even know we're there until it's too late. Meanwhile, Sungminit's patience was wearing thin. He'd tried threats. Violence. Psychological torture. Adiz gave him nothing. She sat in her corner, bloodied and bruised, but unbroken. Every time he demanded answers, she met his eyes with that same defiant fire. It infuriated him. It terrified him. You're protecting him, Sungminit spat. The Iron Phantom. You think he's coming to save you. I'm not protecting anyone. Then why won't you cooperate? Because I'd rather die than help the man who murdered my family. Sungminit stared at her. Then laughed. You really don't know, do you? Know what? He crouched before her again. Your precious Lee Jae-minute. The man you've been sleeping with. The man you think loves you. His voice dropped to a whisper. He's not innocent either. Adiz went still. What are you talking about? The consortium that killed your father. 3 Korean businessmen, remember? Park Sung-ho. Kim Do-hyun. My father. Sungminit's smile turned cruel. But there was a fourth. A silent partner. Someone who provided intelligence. Routes. Security details. Her blood ran cold. No. Lee Jae-minute wasn't always the Iron Phantom. 20 years ago, he was a nobody. A street rat clawing his way up. He sold information to whoever paid highest. Sungminit leaned closer. He sold your father's shipping routes to the consortium. He helped plan the attack. You're lying. Am I? Ask him yourself. If you survive. He stood. Walked toward the door. Think about that, Miss Okonkwo. The man you love helped murder your family. And he never told you. The door slammed shut. Adiz sat in the darkness. Trembling. Broken. Not from the beatings. From the truth. 8 hours remaining. The assault team assembled at midnight. 30 of Jae-minut's most loyal soldiers. Former special forces. Ex-intelligence operatives. Men who had followed him through fire and emerged stronger. They gathered in a warehouse on the outskirts of Incheon, reviewing the plan one final time. The target is a 4-story building, Director Kang explained, pointing at the holographic display. Hostage is likely held in the basement. We'll enter through 3 points simultaneously: roof, east entrance, underground tunnel. Casualties? One soldier asked. Jae-minute answered. None. On our side. He looked at his men. At the weapons in their hands. At the loyalty in their eyes. The Hwang family believes they can take what's mine, he said quietly. They believe they can threaten someone I care about and walk away. They are wrong. He picked up his own weapon. A custom pistol. Black. Elegant. Deadly. Tonight, we remind them why they fear the Iron Phantom. 2 hours later. The assault began. Silent. Surgical. Exactly as planned. The guards never saw them coming. One moment, the perimeter was secure. The next, Shadows moved through the darkness, and men fell without a sound. Jae-minute led the basement team. He moved like smoke, fluid, invisible, lethal. His footsteps made no sound. His breathing was controlled. The serpent tattoo on his neck seemed to pulse with every heartbeat. I'm coming. Hold on. I'm coming. The basement. Adiz heard the chaos above. Shouts. Gunfire. Screams that cut short. Then silence. Her heart pounded. The door burst open. Sungminit rushed in, wild-eyed, a gun in his hand. You. He grabbed her, pressed the gun to her temple. This is your fault. Your fault. Let her go. The voice came from the shadows. Sungminit spun. Jae-minute stood in the doorway. Alone. Unarmed. His hands were at his sides. His face was calm. But his eyes were death. Mr. Lee. Sungminit's voice shook. Come any closer, and I'll. You'll what? Jae-minute stepped forward. Kill her? Then what? You lose your leverage. You lose the account. You lose everything. Stay back. Another step. You're scared, Jae-minute observed. You should be. You took something precious from me. There's no scenario where you walk out of here alive. I have a gun. You have a tool. I am the weapon. Another step. Sungminit's hand trembled. I'm warning you. Jae-minute moved. Fast. Impossibly fast. One moment, he was across the room. The next, his hand was around Sungminit's wrist, twisting, breaking. The gun clattered to the floor. Sungminit screamed. Jae-minute didn't stop. He drove his elbow into Sungminit's face. Knee to the gut. Fist to the throat. Each blow precise. Controlled. Devastating. Sungminit collapsed. Broken. Bleeding. Alive. But barely. Jae-minute stood over him. That was for touching her, he said quietly. Then he turned to Adiz. His face changed. The monster retreated. And something human, something wounded and desperate, took its place. Adiz. He knelt before her, cutting her bonds with a blade from his sleeve. I'm here. I'm here. She looked at him. At the man who had saved her. At the man who had destroyed her. Is it true? She whispered. He froze. Is what true? You helped them. 20 years ago. You sold information to the consortium. You helped them kill my family. The silence was absolute. Jae-minite's face went pale. Where did you hear that? Does it matter? Her voice cracked. Is it true? He opened his mouth. Closed it. And she saw the answer in his eyes. Oh God. She pulled away from him. Oh God. Adiz, please. Don't touch me. She scrambled backward. Don't touch me. Let me explain. Explain what? That you helped murder my family? That you've been lying to me this entire time? I didn't know. His voice broke. When I sold that information, I didn't know what they were planning. I was 20 years old. Desperate. Starving. I sold roots to anyone who paid. I didn't know it would lead to genocide. To the death of everyone I loved. He reached for her. She flinched away. Adiz, please. There were tears in his eyes. The Iron Phantom, the man who feared nothing, was crying. I found out years later. What they'd done. Who they'd killed. It haunted me. It's still haunting me. And you never thought to tell me. I was going to. When? After you slept with me? After you made me fall in. She stopped. Choked. After I made you fall in what? She couldn't say it. Couldn't admit that she loved him. That she still loved him. Even now. Get me out of here, she said flatly. Just, get me out. The penthouse. A doctor treated Adiz's wounds. Bruises. Cuts. A cracked rib. Nothing that wouldn't heal. Physically. She sat on the guest bed, staring at nothing while the doctor worked. Jae-minute stood in the doorway, watching, waiting, desperate for a word. A glance. Anything. She gave him nothing. The physical trauma is minor, the doctor reported quietly. But she's in shock. She needs rest. Support. She'll have everything she needs. Sir. The doctor hesitated. Emotional wounds take longer to heal than physical ones. Be patient with her. Jae-minute nodded. The doctor left. Silence filled the room. You should rest, Jae-minute said finally. No response. I'll have food brought up. Whatever you want. Nothing. Adiz. Leave. The word was quiet. Final. Please. Leave. He left. The next 3 days. Adiz didn't speak. Didn't eat. Didn't leave the guest room. Minute G came to visit. Brought flowers. Tried to coax her friend into conversation. Nothing worked. She's not eating, Minute G reported to Jae-minute. Not sleeping. She just sits there, staring at the wall. What can I do? I don't know. I've never seen her like this. Minute G looked at him accusingly. What did you do to her? He didn't answer. Because the answer would destroy everything. On the 4th day, Adiz emerged. She walked into Jae-minute's study, where he sat surrounded by paperwork, and stood before his desk. He looked up. Hope flickered in his eyes. Then died. Because her face was stone. Tell me everything, she said. From the beginning. I want to know exactly what you did. Jae-minute didn't move. Didn't breathe. Then, slowly, he set down his pen. Sit down. I'll stand. Please. This will take a while. She hesitated. Then Saturday. Jae-minute walked to the window. Seoul sprawled beneath him, indifferent to the confession about to unfold. I was born in Busan, he began. My mother was a factory worker. My father was nobody. He left before I was born. We had nothing. He paused. When I was 15, my mother got sick. Cancer. We couldn't afford treatment. I watched her die slowly, over 2 years, because we didn't have money. His voice was flat. Controlled. Like he was reading someone else's story. After she died, I ended up on the streets. Joined a gang. Started as a runner, delivering packages, carrying messages. I was smart, so I moved up quickly. By 20, I was handling information. Selling it to whoever paid. He turned to face her. Your father's shipping consortium was one of the biggest in Asia. Everyone wanted intelligence on his operations. Routes. Schedules. Security details. He paused. I sold that information. I didn't ask what it was for. I didn't care. Money was survival, and survival was all that mattered. And the consortium. Adiz's voice was ice. They approached me through an intermediary. Wanted detailed information on your father's Lagos operations. Where he lived. How he traveled. Who protected him. Jae-minute's jaw tightened. I gave them everything. And never asked why. No. And never thought to check what happened. Not at first. He looked away. It was years later. I'd risen through the ranks. Become the Iron Phantom. One of my lieutenants mentioned the Orkonkwo massacre in passing, a cautionary tale about what happens when you make powerful enemies. His voice cracked. I recognized the name. Did some digging. And realized what I'd helped cause. Adiz's hands were trembling. 7 people, she whispered. My father. My mother. My 3 brothers. 2 bodyguards. 7 people dead. Because of information you sold. Yes. And you never tried to make it right. How? He turned to her, eyes blazing. How do you make right something like that? I couldn't bring them back. Couldn't undo what I'd done. So I did the only thing I could. I destroyed the people responsible. The consortium. Park Sung-ho. Heart attack. Not natural. Kim Do-hyun. Car accident. Definitely not natural. His voice hardened. Chairman Hwang was supposed to be next. But he was more careful. More protected. It took me years to find an opening. And then I walked into your life. Yes. Adiz stood. Walked to the window. Stood beside him without touching. You've known who I was since the beginning, she said quietly. That day in the flower shop. You knew. Not immediately. But within days, yes. And everything since. The protection, the investigation, the romance, it was all guilt. No. His voice was fierce. The guilt came first. But what I feel for you, that's real. That's real, Adiz. How can I believe that? You can't. He turned to face her fully. I have no right to ask you to trust me. No right to ask for forgiveness. I helped destroy your life, and nothing I do will ever erase that. He reached out. Touched her cheek. She didn't flinch this time. But I love you, he said. I didn't plan to. Didn't want to. You were supposed to be penance, a wrong I could finally right. Instead, you became everything. Tears slid down her face. I don't know what to do with that. Neither do I. They stood in silence. Two broken people. One terrible truth between them. 1 week later, Adiz moved back to her apartment. Above the flower shop. Away from him. She needed space. Time. Distance to think about everything she'd learned and everything she felt. Jae-min didn't argue. But he didn't disappear either. Every morning, a single flower appeared on her doorstep. White orchid. Her favorite. No note. No message. Just the flower. Every evening, a black Maybach sat across the street. Watching. Protecting. She never acknowledged it. But she never asked it to leave. Minute G noticed. He's still out there, she said one afternoon, peering through the shop window. Every single day. Doesn't he have criminal empires to run? Probably. And you're just going to ignore him. I'm thinking. About what? Whether to forgive him for helping murder your family, or whether to forgive him for lying about it for months. Adiz flinched. Minute G softened. I'm sorry. That was harsh. It was true. It was both. Minute G sat across from her. Look, I'm not going to pretend I understand what you're going through. But I know you, Ani. I know you've been miserable since you left that penthouse. And I know you love him. Love isn't enough. Maybe not. But it's a start. That night, Adiz dreamed of her family. Not the night they died. Before. Her mother's laugh. Her father's voice. Her brothers wrestling in the courtyard while she read in the shade. Happy times. Safe times. Then the dream shifted. She was standing in a garden. White orchids everywhere. And in the center stood Jae-min. Waiting. You have to choose, dream Jae-min said. The past or the future. Grief or hope. Death or life. I can't choose. I don't know how. Then ask yourself this. He stepped closer. If your family were here, what would they want for you? She woke up crying. 2 weeks later, Adiz walked into Jae-min's penthouse. He was standing at the window, as always. Watching Seoul. Waiting. He turned when he heard her footsteps. His eyes widened. Adiz. I have conditions, she said. He didn't move. Name them. First, no more lies. Ever. About anything. If I ask a question, you answer truthfully, no matter how painful. Agreed. Second, I want to know everything. Every operation. Every decision. If I'm going to be part of your life, I'm going to be part of all of it. That's dangerous. I'm aware. He hesitated. Then nodded. Agreed. Third, her voice cracked. Third, I need you to understand that I may never fully forgive you. I'm choosing to move forward, but that doesn't mean the past disappears. There will be days when I look at you and see only what you took from me. I understand. Do you? Because those days will hurt. For both of us. I know. He stepped toward her. And I'll be there anyway. Every day. Good and bad. For as long as you'll have me. She looked at him. This man. This monster. This broken, devoted, impossible man. I dreamed about my family, she said quietly. I asked them what they would want for me. And they would want me to live. To love. To stop running. She reached out. Touched his face. They wouldn't want their deaths to be the end of my story. He closed his eyes. I don't deserve this. No. You don't. She pressed her forehead to his. But I'm giving it to you anyway. Because I choose to. Because I want to. His arms wrapped around her. pulled her close, held her like she was oxygen, like she was everything. 1 month later, the Huang family's trial concluded. Chairman Huang, guilty of conspiracy, murder, racketeering, sentenced to life in prison without parole. Huang Sung-minute, guilty of kidnapping, assault, attempted murder, sentenced to 40 years. Their empire, dissolved. Assets seized. Legacy erased. Adiz watched the verdict from the gallery. Jae-minute sat beside her, his hand in hers. When the judge finished speaking, she exhaled. A breath she'd been holding for 5 years. "It's over," she whispered. "Yes. I thought I'd feel different. Satisfied. Vindicated." "What do you feel?" She considered. "Empty. But not the bad kind. Like a room that's been cleared of clutter. Empty, but ready for something new." He squeezed her hand. "What do you want to fill it with?" She looked at him. "You. The shop. Minute G. A life that's mine, not just a life I'm running from." "That sounds like a good start." "It does, doesn't it?" Later that day, they visited her family's grave. Not the actual grave, that was in Lagos, too dangerous to visit, but a memorial Jae-minute had built. A small garden in the countryside, filled with flowers from her shop. 7 white orchids. 1 for each person she'd lost. Adiz knelt before them. "Papa," she whispered. "Mima. Chukwemeka. Oluchi. Ikenna. Amadi. Emeka." She named each god too. "I'm sorry it took so long. I'm sorry I couldn't save you. But I want you to know, they paid. The people who did this. They paid for everything." Jae-minute stood behind her. Silent. Respectful. "And the man standing behind me," she continued, voice breaking. "He helped them. Once. A long time ago. He didn't know what he was doing, but that doesn't excuse it. Nothing excuses it." She felt Jae-minute tense. "But he's trying to make it right. He protected me. Avenged you. And he loves me, really loves me, in a way I didn't think I'd ever experience again." She stood. Turned to face him. "So I'm going to let him. I'm going to let him love me, and I'm going to love him back. Because you taught me that love is the only thing that survives death. And I want to honor that." Tears streamed down her face. Down his face too. "Goodbye," she whispered to the orchids. "Rest well. I'll be okay now." 6 months later. The flower shop expanded. Adiz opened a second location in Gangnam. Then a third in Itaewon's main district. Her arrangements became famous, elegant, emotional, meaningful in ways other florists couldn't match. She hired more staff. Trained them herself. Built something beautiful from the ashes. "You're becoming a mogul," Minute G teased one afternoon. "Should I start calling you Seonim?" "Don't you dare." "Too late. Seonim it is." Adiz threw a rose stem at her. Meanwhile, Jae-minut's world changed too. Slowly. Carefully. He began transitioning operations, moving away from the most violent enterprises, focusing on legitimate businesses. The process was dangerous, filled with enemies who saw change as weakness. But he was the Iron Phantom. And he had something to live for now. "You're going soft," Director Kang observed. "I'm going strategic." "Same thing, in our world." Jae-minute smiled slightly. "Maybe our world needs to change." 1 year later. They were in the penthouse. The same penthouse where everything had begun. Adiz stood at the window, watching Seoul's lights flicker to life. The city that had become her home. The city where she'd found love in the least likely place. "I have something for you." She turned. Jae-minute was kneeling. Her heart stopped. "What are you doing?" "Something I should have done months ago." He held up a small box. Inside, a ring, simple, elegant, a single diamond set in rose gold. "I've spent my entire life building power. Control. An empire of fear. But you taught me that none of it matters without someone to share it with." His voice cracked. "I don't deserve you. I know that. I'll probably spend the rest of my life trying to earn what you've given me. But if you'll have me, if you'll let me try, I swear I will spend every day proving that I'm worthy of your heart." Tears streamed down Adiz's face. "Jae-minute." Marry me. His voice broke completely. Please. Marry me. Be mine forever, and I'll be yours. Whatever that means. Whatever you need. I'll be it. She looked at him. This man. This monster who became her salvation. This broken soul who pieced himself together for her. Yes, she whispered. His eyes widened. Yes. Yes, you impossible man. Yes, I'll marry you. He surged to his feet. Swept her into his arms. Kissed her like the world was ending and she was the only thing worth saving. The kiss was different this time. Not desperate. Not hungry. Complete. Whole. A promise sealed in silence. The garden was filled with orchids. White and purple and gold, cascading down trellises, bursting from ceramic pots, perfuming the air with sweetness. Adiz walked through them slowly, one hand resting on her swollen belly. 8 months pregnant. A girl. They were going to name her Adana, father's daughter. A bridge between past and future. You should be resting. She turned. Jaminit stood at the garden entrance, arms crossed, brow furrowed. He'd softened over the years, not visibly, but in ways only she could see. The ice in his eyes had thawed. The tension in his shoulders had eased. He smiled more now. Laughed sometimes. Looked at her like she hung the moon. I'm pregnant, not dying, she said. You're very pregnant. The doctor said. The doctor said light activity is fine. Walking is light activity. Walking through gardens at sunset when you should be eating dinner is romantic. She crossed to him, took his hands. Let me be romantic. He sighed. But he was smiling. Fine. 5 more minutes. 10. 7. Deal. She kissed him. Soft. Sweet. Full of 3 years of healing and hope. They walked together. Past the orchids. Past the memorial corner, where 7 white flowers still bloomed. Past the bench where Jaminit had proposed a second time, when she teased him about the first proposal being too dramatic. I've been thinking, she said. About names. Not for the baby, we have that settled. For the new shop. Ah. He raised an eyebrow. The 4th location. The 5th, actually. Minute G found a space in Jeju. Jeju? That's ambitious. I'm an ambitious woman. She leaned against him. But I want this one to be different. Not just a flower shop. A foundation. For women escaping violence. Providing them with job training, housing, support. Jaminit went still. A foundation. Named after my mother. The Chiamaka Foundation. God is beautiful. She looked up at him. What do you think? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he pulled her closer. Pressed his lips to her forehead. I think, he said quietly, that you continue to be the most extraordinary person I've ever met. And I think your mother would be very proud. Tears welled in her eyes. You'll help me? With the foundation. With everything. Always. That night. They lay in bed. Adiz's head rested on Jaminit's chest. His hand traced patterns on her back. Lazy, intimate, familiar. I had a dream last night, he said. About our daughter. She was grown. Standing in a garden, surrounded by flowers, laughing at something I couldn't hear. He paused. She looked like you. Adiz smiled. She'll have your stubbornness. And your heart. God help us all. He laughed. A real laugh. Full and warm and rare. She would never tire of that sound. The next morning. Adiz woke alone. A note on the pillow. Had to handle something at the office. We'll be home for dinner. Don't overdo it at the shop. I love you. Always. Jay. She smiled. Pressed the note to her heart. Then got up, dressed, and went to work. Because life didn't stop for love. It expanded because of it. 5 years later. The flower shop in Itaewon looked the same. Same window displays. Same warm lighting. Same bell that chimed when the door opened. But inside, everything had changed. Adana, 4 years old, wild-haired, fierce-eyed, raced through the aisles, chasing Minitji's daughter around the arrangements. Careful. Adiz called. Don't knock over the Crash. Orchids. She sighed. Minute G appeared from the back room, laughing. They are fine. The orchids are fine. Kids are resilient. The orchids are not resilient. They are very delicate. So am I, but I survived raising Minute. Minute G scooped up her daughter. Come on, troublemaker. Let's get you cleaned up before your auntie has a heart attack. The children disappeared into the back. Adiz bent to rescue the fallen orchids. The bell chimed. We're closed, she called without looking up. Come back tomorrow. Is that how you greet the love of your life? She looked up. Minute stood in the doorway. 45 years old now. Still sharp. Still beautiful. Still looking at her like she was oxygen. The serpent tattoo on his neck had faded slightly, but it was still there. A reminder of who he'd been. A contrast to who he'd become. You're early, she said. Meeting ended quickly. He crossed to her. Took the orchids from her hands. Set them aside. I missed you. You saw me 3 hours ago. Too long. He kissed her. And in that kiss was everything. 5 years of marriage. 2 children, Adana and their son, Emmanuel, named after her father. 3 successful businesses. 1 foundation that had helped thousands of women. A lifetime of healing. A future of hope. I love you, he murmured against her lips. I know. She smiled. I love you too. The sun set over Seoul. Through the flower shop window, golden light spilled across orchids and roses, casting long shadows across the floor. A family laughed somewhere in the back. A husband held his wife. A monster became a man. A survivor became whole. And love, impossible, painful, hard-won love, conquered everything. Thank you for staying until the end of this journey. Adiz and Minute's story is about the worst things we've done and the best things we can become. It's about forgiveness, not forgetting, but choosing to build something new from broken pieces. If you loved this story, please like, share, and subscribe. More dark romances coming soon.